Good news! I want to tell you one sure way to relocate to Canada without studying and even without getting an LMIA job. Hey, hey, hey! This is mind-blowing. So get your pens and your paper, turn off your phone, unless you are watching me on it, and let's go. This news is for all caregivers that are interested in migrating to Canada and becoming Canada permanent residents in 2024. In this video, I will let you in on an opportunity to become a Canada permanent resident in 2024 using the home care provider pilot that is transforming lives. And I will tell you what you need to do as soon as possible to position yourself for the limited opportunities coming up in January 2024. Are you a caregiver or you know any caregiver? If yes, type a big yes in the comments now. Go on, type yes. Due to the aging population in Canada, there's a great need, and I mean a great need for caregivers. And there are not enough caregivers. So if you are a caregiver, Canada needs you. Canada's commitment to caregivers is evident in the thoughtfully designed home childcare provider and home support worker pilots. These programs provide caregivers with a clear, direct path to permanent residence. Aspiring caregivers can now embark on their Canada journey with confidence, knowing that Canada values and supports those who care for its loved ones. The Home Child Care Provider Pilot and the Home Support Worker Pilot are 5-year pilot programs that let qualified caregivers and their families come to Canada with the goal of becoming permanent residents. If you've been offered a job in Canada as a caregiver, or you have experience working in Canada as a caregiver, you may be eligible to apply for permanent residence through one of these pilots. These programs also offer open work permits and study permits for immediate family members. This is great, facilitating the reunification of families in Canada. The application process will be different depending on your situation and how much qualifying work experience you have. Now, before we dive into the details, please note that these pilots are temporary programs that started in 2019 and will end in June of 2024, except they are extended. These programs will open in January 2024, and you need to be prepared to submit your application as soon as the programs open. However, these programs have restrictions as to the number of people who will be accepted. Moving on, there are 8 steps that show that you are eligible to obtain a caregiver visa in Canada, and we're going to go through the 8 steps. Number 1, select the right program. The first crucial decision is to choose between the Home Child Care Provider Pilot and the Home Support Worker Pilot based on your education and your experience. Your selection should align with the National Occupation Classification Code or the NOC code relevant to each program. We will talk about the NOC codes later in the video. Number 2, choose the correct category. Now, there are 2 categories for these pilot programs, and your work experience plays a crucial role in determining the category under which you should apply. The first category is if you have less than 12 months work experience. That is, if you've never worked full-time as a caregiver in Canada, or you have less than 12 months of work experience, then you can apply to the gaining experience category. The second category is if you have 12 months or more work experience. So if you've worked full-time as a caregiver in Canada for a total of 12 months or more in the last 36 months, you can apply to the direct to permanent category. Number 3, secure a genuine and a valid job offer. No LMI is required. Having a valid job offer in Canada is a prerequisite. You need a genuine and valid job offer. Now, for the job to be genuine and valid, the job you're offered must be full-time, which means that you have at least 30 hours of paid work each week. It must be from a Canadian employer. It must be outside the province of Quebec. It must be from an employer that is not a business, an embassy, a high commission, or a consulate. It must be genuine, meaning that there is a real need to hire you, and your salary should also be sufficient to support yourself and your family members financially while working as a caregiver in Canada. Also know that the job that you're offered must be in the National Occupation Classification or the NOC code job that matches the pilot that you are applying for. We will talk about the NOC code in a bit, but please note this. Now, this is very, very important, so note it. Your qualifying work experience must be in one of these jobs. It cannot be a mix of both jobs. Yeah. So if you already have some experience as a caregiver in Canada, make sure that the job that you're offered matches the work experience you already have. There are many online platforms that can aid you in finding caregiver positions. And I might just do a video about that if I get up to 100 likes in this video. Whether through specialized caregiver job boards or general employment platforms, a genuine job offer is your key to moving forward with this. Number 4, demonstrate your credibility and ability to do the job with your qualifying work experience. You need to gather evidence of your experience in the specified NOC occupation for the program you have selected. This step involves showcasing your ability to fulfill the responsibilities of the caregiver role that you want to do or that you're doing. Qualifying work experience means that you've worked full-time in Canada in one of these National Occupation Classification or NOC code jobs. For the home child care provider, the NOC code is 44100. The job involves caring for children in your own home or in your employer's private home. However, the location cannot be an institutional setting such as a daycare. You don't need to live in your employer's home to qualify. Experience as a foster parent doesn't count. Other jobs that fall under this category include babysitter, nanny, live-in nanny, personal support worker for home support, and domestic worker. Now, for the home support worker, the NOC code is 44101. And for this job, you must care for someone who needs help from a home support worker in your employer's private home. The location cannot be an institutional setting such as a nursing home. You don't need to live in your employer's home to qualify, so you can live outside of your employer's home. RCC will use any past experience or training you have to decide if you're able to do the work described in the NOC job description. That's the lead statement of the NOC job. Number 5 is your language proficiency. You need to take a language test to demonstrate your language skills. For both English and French, you need to achieve a minimum language level of CLB 5 or NLCL 5 across all the 4 language skills: writing, reading, listening, and speaking. Number 6 is that you must ensure that you meet the education requirements. A completed post-secondary education credential of at least 1 year is mandatory. So that is college or university education after high school. If your education is from outside Canada, you need to undergo an assessment like WES to prove its equivalence to a Canadian post-secondary education credential of at least 1 year. Number 7, admissibility to Canada. You must confirm your admissibility to Canada, and this step involves meeting health and security standards, ensuring you are eligible to enter Canada and stay in Canada. Number 8 step is choose your permanent residence location. If your goal is to become a permanent resident, then you should plan to live outside the province of Quebec. This is a crucial aspect of the process, aligning with the specific requirements for caregiver visa holders. Phew. Embarking on the journey to becoming a caregiver in Canada requires careful navigation through these 8 essential steps that we just went through. By following this roadmap, you can increase your chances of successfully obtaining a caregiver visa and fulfilling your aspirations in the Canadian landscape. If you're getting any value so far, don't forget to like the video, just to say thank you, and subscribe as well. No matter the category you fall into, the process of applying works the same way, and this is how it works. 1, when you have a valid job offer, you submit a work permit application with your permanent residence application. So you're submitting both of them, and you pay the required fees for both applications, work permit and the permanent residence application. You must include a work permit application for your entire application to be complete. So this applies even if you already have a separate valid work permit. 2, if you meet the requirement, you get a work permit to work in Canada temporarily. The work permit that you get is an occupation restricted open work permit and lets you work as a caregiver for any employer. Then you get at least 12 months of eligible work experience in Canada to qualify for permanent residence. Simple. Now, when you have that work experience, you send IRCC proof of your work experience once you have enough work experience. IRCC makes the final decision on your application for permanent residence. If you're already working in Canada as a home child care provider or a home support worker, you can do one of the following. 1. You must submit a work permit application with your permanent residence application, even if you already have a valid work permit. You keep working on your current work permit until you have 12 months of work experience. If you choose to keep working on your current work permit, follow the instructions for caregivers who have 12 months of qualifying work experience. That is the direct to permanent residence category when you have enough work experience. I hope that was clear. Now, one question that I suspect is at the top of your mind is, can I bring my family members with me to Canada? And this is the answer. Your family members are also eligible to come to Canada with you. If they want to work or study while in Canada, you can include their work or study permit applications with your permanent residence application. Or they can apply for a work or study permit separately after you submit your permanent residence application. You don't have to submit temporary resident applications for family members who aren't coming with you to Canada when you apply. If your application is approved and any family members you listed as accompanying on your permanent residence application will also get permanent resident status with you. Now, what I want to say now is so critical. So please listen up. Listen up. Stop what you're doing and listen. These pilot programs have caps. In 2023, the home child care provider pilot accepted 1,100 applications, while the home support worker pilot accepted 1,100 applications as well in the direct to permanent residence category and 1,650 applications in the gaining experience category. The caps for the pilots will reset on January 1, 2024 at 9 a.m. ET. IRCC will accept new applications until the caps are reached until the last day of the pilot, which is June 17th of 2024. Since this cap is not a lot, you need to get ready before the caps reset, so you are jumping in first before others do. Now, how do you prepare? I will tell you. You can create an account in the permanent residence portal if you don't already have one. The next thing you need to do is to review the document checklist and prepare the information you will need for the online application forms. I'm going to leave the link to the document checklist in the description below, as well as other links to the programs. Then you start completing the forms you will need to upload as PDFs and gather all your supporting documents. Have them ready. When you're ready to apply or when the portal opens, you can apply online using the permanent residence portal. I will also leave the links below. Apply through the permanent residence portal. If your application is incomplete, IRCC will reject it, and we don't want that. You will have to fix any errors and then resubmit it as long as the cap hasn't already been reached. Do you now see why you need to start preparing as soon as possible? Do you see it? I hope you do. Now, regarding the fees. Now, application processing fee is $1,085, including the processing fee and the right of permanent residence fee. This is the same thing if you're applying for your spouse. You also pay $155 for your work permit, and it will cost $155 for each dependent child that you add to your application. But please check the IRCC website, as these prices may change. Also, plan for your medicals, your police certificate, your English test, and your education assessment. And this differs from country to country, so check the price in your own country. One more thing, regarding living arrangements, your employer cannot require you to live in their home. You and your employer may decide that a living arrangement is appropriate to meet the needs of the person or the persons that are getting care, or at your own request. Please, if you are a caregiver, start getting ready now, like right now. If you know anyone who is a caregiver, share this video with them so they can get ready as well. If you need to, watch this video again to get all the juicy information again, and just in case you didn't know. In this channel, we share tips to help you successfully relocate and live in Canada. And if that is the kind of content you fancy, I have one request from you. Subscribe and turn on your notification. Oh, was that 2 requests? Now, if you want to know other skills that you can learn before coming to Canada that can help you make money on the side, check out this video here. Make sure that you are taking advantage of this home care pilot program and you're putting in your applications as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I'm tired. I need some care. See you in the next one. Goodbye.